I remember after the 2006 midterm elections, when the Democrats took back over Congress, George W. Bush had an approval rating around 50%, maybe a little lower. A lot of progressive, liberal, democratic, whatever you want to call them, pundits and writers were out there writing eulogies for the Republican Party. A lot of us, myself included, were out there saying they're done, they're finished, George W. Bush has destroyed this party, there's no coming back from this. Well, it only took 4 years after that for the Republicans, to retake the House of Representatives. Then, a few years later, they retook the Senate. Now they've got the presidency. And suddenly, those eulogies that we were writing for the Republican Party 11 years ago are now more relevant to the Democratic Party. And the big question here is, do the Democrats understand why they lost in 2016? Or why they lost the midterms in 2014 and 2012 and 2010. You see where I'm going with this? They lack self-awareness at this point, and it's killing them. When we look at all of the people who worked on Hillary Clinton's campaign and the excuses they have come up with as to why they lost this campaign, it was James Comey in the FBI letter right before the election saying they're reopening the investigation. It was the Russians hacking and colluding with Donald Trump. That did it. It was Bernie Sanders coming out there, and he wasn't, I know he supported her, but he didn't support her hard enough. It was kind of a backhanded thing. It was Jill Stein and the third party. For the love of God, people, the 2016 election is over, okay? It's over. It ended. It's done. All of those things may have played a factor. But let me go ahead and tell you this. After the DNC email hack and leak came out, Hillary Clinton's support actually went up. So I know for a fact that that didn't play a role in it. James Comey, on the other hand, her numbers went down after he released his little thing in October saying they were reopening the investigation even though they weren't. So yeah, Comey played a role. But do you know what played the biggest role? The thing that none of you who worked on that campaign or who supported Hillary Clinton are acknowledging today? The fact that she only talked about issues 25% of the time, and 25% of her speeches, 25% of her advertisements, that is all she devoted towards issues. 75% of the time when she was out there speaking or cutting an ad, it was to talk bad, insult, attack Donald Trump or other Republicans. In the past, that was a good strategy. In fact, her husband's advisors, Paul Begala and James Carville, came up with a little slogan that served the Democrats pretty well at the time. Always attack, never defend. Unfortunately, that doesn't work anymore today. Hillary Clinton's campaign failed because she didn't talk about the issues, because she ignored most of America. She thought it was more important to go to fundraisers than to go and talk about income inequality. That's why she failed. But we know that. Most of us who've read the reports, who've read the studies, who've been paying attention, we know that. But it's the people who worked on her campaign, the people, these longtime Democratic advisors and strategists in Washington, D.C., the people who are still trying to have influence over the Democratic Party, the people who still want to run other campaigns, they won't accept that. And until they accept that, the Democratic Party cannot move on and grow. Now, I'm not one of these people who's out there saying Bernie Sanders would have won. Would he have won? Doesn't matter. That's my answer to that. It doesn't matter. The time for shoulda, woulda, coulda is over. I supported Bernie in the primary, and I voted for Hillary in the general. I am a registered Democrat, have been since the day I registered to vote, and probably always will be, unless something better comes along. But I understand the problems with my party, and I am not afraid to mention them. I am not afraid to attack my own party when they turn their back on the working class, when they turn their back on the environment, when they put the profits over corporations over the American people. I will go after them. I do, I have, I will. And that's the problem that the Democratic Party has right now. There's not enough people inside the party to tell them that these things are wrong. And until we get that, they won't learn. And if they don't learn, then they at least better get used to losing. If you like this video, make sure that you like, comment, and share, and most importantly, subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to help support Ring of Fire, go to patreon.com/TheRingOfFire, become a monthly patron to help support independent progressive media.